Hello, everybody. I just popped on, no announcement, no nothing. This is today's Sunday live feed, our little chat. I have a lot of cool models to go through, so I'll let a few of you come on, and because it'll be a second since I didn't announce this one or set up premiere or anything like that. So we'll get right to it. Well, I'll give it a minute. Trying to make sure all this is when you do a live feed. Sometimes it's hard to check the. Hello, Hector. It's hard to check all of the settings to make sure everything is good, but we're going close up today. I'm not playing with my setup for two reasons. Number one, it's covered in cars for an upcoming video. We'll just say it's a lot of Auto World cars that I'm looking at. Number two, I want to go close up on these, and I want the lighting to be good because you're going to look at some really, really pretty models today, like the one you're looking at right now. This is the 1970 Datsun 510 Rally by Matchbox. If you look at that logo, it's the 2018 Matchbox Gathering of Friends. That was the 16th last year in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Every July, middle of July, give or take, is the Matchbox Gathering of Friends. And it is always in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it is always in the middle of July, and I think I've been there for the last 10 years. I might have missed one. I don't remember. But I'll be there next weekend. So hello, Connor. No, I wasn't live. That last video wasn't live. I recorded that one a while ago, and then, or actually on Friday, and then posted it today. This is live. So I'm kind of talking. I'll probably repeat myself a few times. If you're watching this at another time, I apologize. Just fast forward a little bit. Once that Datsun disappears, we'll get to it. But when you go live, you want to say hi to everyone. So yeah, I wasn't live in the last video that's posted on the Lamley channel. It's Hot Wheels ID. This Matchbox video is our Sunday chat that I like to do on Lamley Extras. So, and I'm starting a little early because I have a very busy day for me today. So let's say it again. Matchbox Gathering of Friends Convention 2019 starts this Friday in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It is always in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's a great convention. It's not nearly the size as the Hot Wheels convention. It's actually quite small. They fill up a few floors of the hotel, but like the dinners and stuff, it's usually about 150 to 200 people, all close-knit people. We all know each other fairly well. And it's a pretty cool. Matchbox comes, and on Saturday night, they will do a full 2020 presentation. They will actually present all of the upcoming 2020 new models. I think for opening parts, I think for premium, and for basic, they'll do that presentation. And I will stream it live on the Lamley channel. So you want to be, I'll get all that scheduled. You guys know it's a little bit hit and miss in terms of when I start. It just depends on when the actual presentation starts. But like the Hot Wheels convention, I'll stream the whole thing so you can see along with the rest of us what is coming from Matchbox. It'll be a cool deal. The other thing, I'll stream from that maybe here on the Extras channel, on the Lamley channel, showing some of the in-room trading. There's always some cool stuff there. Maybe I'm going to film some preview videos with Abe Lugo, who is the Matchbox designer. We might have some other people from Mattel there that can talk on not just Matchbox, but other things as well, like Hot Wheels ID. We'll see. But it's really kind of cool. So you guys will enjoy next week, and I will have plenty of content for you. All right. Yeah, John wants to know what's going to be streamed and presented. I will also tell you that they will also present the upcoming, not the upcoming, but the exclusives. They do 2 exclusives every convention. It's just like the Hot Wheels convention. There are always some models to be given away. Essentially, special convention exclusive models that they'll do for the event. All right, I'm trying to gather my thoughts here, so you'll have to bear with me. All right, so this is the Datsun. I have one in the case, and then I have one outside of the case. There is a difference in these. Well, maybe not in these. They'll do some subtle differences. This was actually, let's see here. Is there anyone? I think this is the same one. I can't remember, but they will. This one was done to look like regular wheels. That had the very first Matchbox had gray wheels. They're called regular wheels, and that's what this car is made to look like. They also did a Superlift truck, and that's I don't have that one. I think I got rid of it. Someone wanted it. Yeah, the gray wheels don't look realistic, but it is a cool homage to classic Matchbox, and even that color is an homage to classic Matchbox, and so it's kind of a cool deal there if you know the history of Matchbox. So that's the Datsun. I'm going to walk through a bunch of the models I have. It's going to be a hodgepodge of models. You guys can tell me which ones you like. Give me thumbs. I'm way too close up. Give me thumbs up or thumbs down of what you like. I'm not even going to go in order of when they're released. I'm just going to show you what I've got, and then I'm going to do some other pre-production stuff that you might think is cool. So we're going to start here. They go all kinds of different routes with these models. Sometimes they're super realistic, like this one. This is the Dodge Charger police car, and this one is actually done in an Albuquerque police deco. So, and you can see all the detail: front, side, rear. Look how nice those taillights look. If you look up real close, this is the 12th gathering. So this was about 4 years ago. I can't make out those dates. The 17th, I believe, is this year. But this one is from the 12th gathering. And I think they actually had at the dinner, if I remember correctly, some actual police officers from the Albuquerque Police Department that came. And they did this, Matchbox did this exclusive. Now, this is how it works. Jim Gallegos is the person who runs this convention, and Matchbox has adopted it as their own. So they will always come do the presentation. Jim is the person who does all of the work and runs it. Jim and his wife, Vicky, they're a great couple, great people. And sometimes you'll see references to Jim on the cars. He'll be the one who will, Matchbox will come to him and say, this is what we have available. And he'll be the one who chooses the cars and then have a hand in the deco. His friend Michael Geralda, who's a retired Matchbox designer, also works on them. And then Abe will coordinate it, and then this will be done for the convention. So these are Code 1 models, meaning they're done by Matchbox for the convention. But you can see how cool this one is in that realistic deco. Here's another one. This is the 1975 Chevy Stepside. Square bodies are all the rage. Matchbox has had one for a long time. This one was, I think, initially debuted in 2007. Now, here's the deal. In the past, they did 3 models. They had what they called a convention model, a dealer model, which was given to dealers who rented tables at the Sunday event. We'll get to that detail later. And then they had dinner models. Well, what they've done, then now it's down to just a dealer model and a dinner model. But the dinner model will come in 2 variations. So one for the first 75 people to register, and there's only 125 of those made. And then the actual dinner model, there's about 175 made. These are incredibly rare Matchbox models. So if you eBayed like Matchbox Gathering, you can look at those models. There's not very many made. All of them are less than 200. So this was the dinner model. I think there was 125 made of these, I think, in this kind of rust color. And then there was, and that was the rare one. I'm not entirely sure. I think actually that might have been one of 75. And this one in the antifreeze color was one of 125. You can see on the logo, it's a 2010. So this was the 8th gathering of friends. But these cars are highly detailed, as you can see. They look this is a great casting. The square body step side that Matchbox has done is one of the best. Here's the funny thing. I actually found one of these in my garage. Well, actually, my wife did. She goes, "Do you want this?" She walked into my garage. She walked out of the garage. We were cleaning it out. She goes, "Do you still want this?" And I said, "Yeah." That's how funny it is. Sometimes to be a collector is the things you find. So it's actually still a little grimy and dusty. I think it's been, and it was in a box from the time we moved. So we just found this one a few weeks ago. Isn't that crazy? So I was happy to find another convention model. All right, this one's going way back to the 6th gathering. This would have been about 2007, I think. And this is the Cadillac Sedan DeVille in a rose color. You can see, I'll show you. 6th annual convention. Oh, that's 2008, Albuquerque, New Mexico. And they did a variation on this one. This Cadillac's a great casting. They did a variation on this one. So they did this one in rose. This was 125 made. And then they did this other one, only 75 made in purple. But something is happening. Look at the hood on this thing. It's bubbling. So this is from the era that Mattel was working on with some weird paint or something. And as you know, some of the super treasure hunts, like the R32 Skyline and the Enzo Ferrari, some of the Hot Wheels super treasure hunts are bubbling and flaking. And this one might do the same thing. You can see it right here. So over time, so get in the shot. See that? Over time, this may start flaking, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Sometimes it happens. Still a beautiful model. You just, when you collect, this kind of stuff can happen. There's Hot Wheels cars and Matchbox cars that the metal's actually corroded and cracked. So, someone's saying preserve it in a container. That's doesn't even matter. There's people who have them still in the, and this one actually didn't come in a container. It actually came, but there's people that have them in the plexiglass, the acrylic cases, and they're just flaked all inside. So sometimes it just happens. That's something, if you're a diecast collector, it just is what it is. I mean, you hope it doesn't happen, but it does. All right, I think this one's from the same year. Yep. How about this one? This one was, I believe, the dealer model. And see the bubbling on that paint? So we're going to lose that one too, eventually. Oh, it's so sad. Look at that on the door. Wow. It's even worse than it was before when I was looking at it. It's hard to see in that, but you can see it in that light. There it is. Look at that. So that's the Chevy panel van. Moment of silence for the paint. Still a beautiful model, right? In the gold color with the two-tone paint. I think Mattel's figured this out, and they did this, it was a small little era, 2007, 2008. I think the Enzo Ferrari was when the Super Treasure Hunt was about that time, wasn't it? And people paying $250, $300, $400 for that Enzo Ferrari, probably not a good idea because it will eventually flake. Unless you don't mind that, if that's not going to, there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing, nothing, nothing. But that's a beautiful model that may be on its last leg. Here's another one only going back a couple of years to, this is the 14th? Yeah, 14th convention, sorry. How about this one? Dodge A100, Spectre Flame red. More like a satin red, I think. Spectre Flame. Hector, I don't have the Ferrari Enzo Super Treasure Hunt. I don't, for the sole purpose of I don't want to have one that's going to flake. I never pursued it, so that's why I don't want it. Like I said, the models that I do have, these ones that are flaking have sentimental value because I was at that convention, and I think they're great models. The Enzo Ferrari, it's a valuable Super Treasure Hunt, but it's not one that I care that much about. The 599XX I like better, but I'm not pursuing that, and especially if you're going to invest couple $100 in it and then it just flakes away. So that's the A100. That's beautiful. Jim Gallegos has a horse farm. His family has a horse farm, and this one is kind of he did this one as an homage. Matchbox did it as an homage to his horse farm. Okay, going back to 2010, the 8th Gathering. 1970 Camaro. This is an older casting. But see, that one has the Spectre Flame paint on it. That one looks like no bubbling, no anything. So that's kind of past the era when these were actually back to the paint was working out pretty well. Looks good with the Matchbox wheels. Clean Spectraflame color, black Camaro striping on the top. Full detail. They're not Real Riders. Those are actually Matchbox wheels. There's one where they did Real Riders, but almost all of these have plastic wheels on it. And you know what? That's how it should be. I like the plastic wheels. I mean, look, I like the Real Riders. They've made Real Riders great, but from this era, the plastic wheels I think look better. Speaking of Spectraflame, check this thing out. This is the Buick Century Police done in a Fire Chief deco. This is going to be one of the best looking models I'll show you. Look how pretty that is. Fire Chief, Spectraflame red, full details, chrome base, white wall tires. Someone wants to know what my favorite Matchbox casting is. That's a great question. I'll have to think that through. Maybe I'll answer it in a video one day. Nice, right? Man, we are already 16 minutes in. I got a ton more to show you. This is going to be a long video. Here's an all-timer, and one that we might lose as well, from 2006, the fifth gathering. This is the Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint. And it is bubbling just a little bit, not like the others. But you see that texture? This is from the fifth gathering. It's 2007, I think. And done in this copper color. I've talked about this model. This model is very interesting because Alfa Romeo approved the Giulia Sprint, I think it's 65 Giulia Sprint, but that car was only produced in red and white. Matchbox got this car approved, but then afterwards Alfa Romeo would only let them do in straight white, straight red, and they had to retire the casting. Hopefully we'll see it. I mean, we did see it back in that Best of World, but just in plain white once again. And I have a couple of versions of this car in green and pearl white that were actually rejected by Alfa Romeo. I was able to acquire them from someone who had them from Mattel, and I was able to acquire them, and they're really cool. I'll show those someday. So that Alfa Romeo is a beautiful one. That in the acrylic I've seen some people who have lost the paint on that one. Hopefully mine's looking pretty good. I hope it stays that way. Okay, this one's really popular. This one's actually kind of gone up. This one's a really valuable one. This is the Mini Cooper from the seventh gathering, right? What year is that? 2009. Love the color on that one. Cool striping. '50th anniversary, I think, of maybe of Matchbox. Was it? I don't remember. No. Superfast? No. Superfast 50 this year. I don't remember. They're celebrating something. Who knows? So Mini Cooper's cool. Okay. All right, now I've got those. Remember, I told you they do variations. Here's one dinner model. This is the 65 Mustang California Special. So this was the dinner model. Only 125 made of these. You can see all the detail. You'll like this one. Look how pretty it is. Spectraflame blue, all the racing details. Has the California Special logo over there on the rear panel. Just, they went all out on this one. 9th convention, so that was, I can't remember what year that is. We'll look at it. But remember I said they do variations on this one. The first 75 people to register for the event get a special version. So this was the 125. But there was another one that was only 75 made, and there it is. The only difference, here I can put these together, is the white roof. So how about those two? Pretty cool, right? So this one has a chrome interior because they want to have the chrome bumpers, which to me, I'd rather have the chrome bumpers. But yeah, the one of 75 is the one to have with the white. I mean, they're both great. If you can only get one, great. But that white roof is so cool on that model, right? What year was this one? 2010, 2011, something like that. Okay, going way back. This would have been 2006, maybe. Jag E-Type. British Racing Green. And look at this one, just plain, plain, plain. The only thing that this one shows that it's a convention model, and it does have an acrylic case, is the logo on the rear window. So you can see that. This was like 2006. The Gathering was just a few years old. I didn't actually make it to this one. I had to acquire this one. I think the first year I went was 2008. So maybe this is my 11th year going. Okay, you've seen a lot of American cars. How about this one? Porsche 914. Actually, I think this is technically called the VW Porsche. Let's see here. Yeah, VW Porsche 914, 1971. Rio Asada designed this one. I actually was, you'll hear him talk about this one at some point on the blog. Spectre Flame blue, Porsche logo, and then full detailing on the front and rear and on the side panel. This whole top is actually one piece, the window and this back part, and they've actually just thickened it in parts to make it look that way. And then it feeds into the rear bumpers. Isn't that a great looking car? 2010. So they did do a Porsche, the 914. It's great choice for a Matchbox, the VW Porsche 914. All right, now we're going to fast forward to the 14th gathering. Mazda Miata. This is the latest generation MX-5 Miata. And this one is cool because what does this remind you of? Let me just see what you guys say. Just looking at the colors, what does this remind you of? This car has racing deco, white rims. Trying to see, yep. It's not 727B, the 787B. So Jim Gallegos and the Matchbox team wanted to do it in exactly the 787B deco, that kind of diamond pattern. And Mazda didn't want them to, but they approved the color combination. So they couldn't do the diamond pattern of the actual 787B, but they did get to do something that was an homage to it. So that's a really cool model. Now this one came in a 1 of 75 and a 1 of 125. I think this is the 125. The 1 of 75, the only variation on that is that it has some extra lettering on the back. It's actually not that big of a deal. Is there a plain version of the Mazda? Oh yeah, look it up. There's a red version from Basic. This is just the Gathering, but it's a basic model. It's been released several times. All right, what's next? Okay, 15th gathering of friends. Here's some real riders. Actual Hot Wheels real riders. This is the Nissan Skyline. So this one was done in this kind of interesting racing deco. It's not something you typically see on a Skyline, but it looks kind of cool. I like that they did the black real riders to make them look a little bit like Steely's. They're not. But this one was also this was the 1 of 125, and then if you saw an extra logo there in the middle, that was 1 of 75. And I think, yeah, I have it. So as this one swings around, I'm going to put this right here. So this is the 1 of 70. This is the 1 of 75. Notice it has the Matchbox 2017 logo there on the back of the trunk, and then this one does not. See that? Hector, you have seen these wheels. They're actually Hot Wheels Real Riders. They're the same Real Riders that are on like the Porsche Toy Fair. Here's that. So there it is in the acrylic case. How do I have so many cars? I've been collecting for a while, and I'm very particular. Now, one thing that they did in that year, they did the Skyline, and then they matched the same deco with the VW Transporter. This was the dealer model. Same deco, same wheels. Here, we can put these together. So that one looks pretty cool too. It's fun to watch your guys' reactions. I think a lot of you didn't know that these models existed. These super premium Matchbox models. And there will be 2 more next weekend that will be unveiled. And I've seen them, and they are gorgeous. I won't tell you what the models are. But they're both fairly recent Matchbox castings, and they have been done up in some crazy colors. So, aren't those cool? Yeah, you'll like the 2, and I'll make sure to show them from the convention. Maybe I'll have Jim Gallegos unveil them on video or something. We'll figure it out. I have this one in the acrylic case as well. And you can see actually they did the, see this one has 2 different rear parts. So this one has the empty bed, and then this one I have here has the full bed. So there it is. Actually, some of these cars I'm showing you actually are almost always in the videos I do, just behind the used car lot that I use. They're actually sitting there, but they're really hard to see. So you have to look closely. They're there. All right. Still not done. Here's a dinner model. This is one of 125 from the 10th gathering. That would have been 2011, 2012 maybe. This is the Firebird Formula. There is the 1 of 75 variation that I gave away, and I haven't been able to replace it. And it has the rising bird, right? The phoenix on it, on the hood. The Firebird, of course. I like this one a lot because I like the Formula livery on it. Gold Spectra Flame, and then the matte black hood. Pretty cool, right? Man, when Matchbox wants to kill it, they can kill it, right? So that's the Firebird. Then, how about the Lotus Europa? Special super fast deco. This is an underrated casting. And that right there is the hardest one to find. This, I think, was the dealer model. Which looks cool. Then I think I've shown all of them except for this one. This one I saved for last because this one's a little special to me. This is the Toyota Tacoma Lifeguard truck, and I had a hand in that deco. Jim wanted to do the Toyota truck. He was asking for some ideas, so he and I started talking, and then I talked to my friend Ben over at Japanese Nostalgic Car, and we were looking at old historic decos from earlier Chevy trucks. And is it Toyota trucks, and Toyota SR5, I believe, 1981, they did a special edition with the Toyota racing stripes, and it had white roof with the Toyota racing stripes and then blue body, and we loved it. We asked Jim what he thought. He liked it. He talked to the Matchbox team. They liked it, and then they did it. And look how clean that one is. This is only one of 75. And it is, I still think it's my favorite gathering model. Not only because I had a hand in it, but also because it's just so cool looking. Just one of the best looking trucks that the Matchbox has done. And they actually took those. The wheels don't need to be swapped. I think they look great. Those are perfect wheels for it. And then they actually took those racing stripes and put it on a Land Cruiser a little bit later. So, nah, I like Matchbox and plastic wheels. I really do. I prefer them in plastic. They've done some nice real riders. They bet they're okay. I still think they do better with the plastic wheels. So, so there's the Toyota. How is it as a collector to have a hand in a car like this? It was great. All right, so I'm going to take that. Now, I'm going to show you a couple others before we go, and I know this is pretty much taking up the entire video time. There's always something else that's always unveiled there. There's a collector, his name is Everett Marshall, and Everett is a super, super cool guy. Long time Matchbox collector, and even has a Matchbox museum, and I can't remember exactly where it is. Everett actually suffered a really tragic accident. There was like a propane tank exploded, and he had a severe injury. But he has now done some work with, Connor, I hope you care. He's done some work with Matchbox, and he does a charity event every year. And Matchbox every year, without fail, will do a special model for Everett Marshall Charities. And so when you buy these models, the models go to the charities that he works with. I'll unveil this model too once he does. And he is a neat guy, and someone I always enjoy seeing when he's there at the gathering. And so there's a ton of them. I don't have all of them. I have a few. But this was one that he did, I think, a couple of years ago. And you can see it's the International Workstar brush truck. This one's in red. One of the charities, so this is New Jersey, Florida. He does a golf tournament. And he does one for his charity, and then he does one for breast cancer awareness. And so this one will always be in pink. So there's a second variation. And you can see that one is in a special pink color. So, yes, he's okay. He's in a wheelchair. It was a pretty terrible accident, but this was quite a few years ago. But now he's here and he does this. And Matchbox always does the without fail does this model for his charity events. Really cool. And maybe I'll get him on video to talk about his model too, because he's a cool dude, and it's really neat. And this is actually one of my this is a Matchbox casting that I love, the International truck, and this one in pink is a stunner. Real big fan of that one. So that's another model. We'll unveil the two convention models, and then we'll unveil Everett Marshall's model, and I'm assuming it will come in two colors. And then sometimes we'll also unveil models from the auction, because Matchbox will donate prototypes. And these are proper prototypes. I'm going to show you. I have won 4 at auction. And on after the 2020 presentation, there'll be a charity auction. A lot of things are donated. I need to donate something. I just keep forgetting to look. And then everyone auctions, and Mattel donates prototypes, and they've done that this year as well. This is one of the prototypes that I bought. You can see Matchbox prototypes, just like Hot Wheels prototypes. These are proper, donated by Mattel, not stolen. Anything you see on eBay most likely is a fake, because it's just a raw model that was taken off the line, so it's not really a prototype. Prototypes are what Mattel uses to test the model, make sure the casting is all put together, make sure the wheels fit right, make sure the playability, make sure it's safe. Most of that stuff is just trying to fool collectors. And the other stuff, there are legitimate prototypes on eBay, but they are stolen, and that ain't cool. So, and sometimes you'll see me, I did that Nissan Silvia video with the prototype that Hot Wheels sent me that I've already sent back. They've got it back. But then sometimes Matchbox will donate to the charity auction, and this is one of the ones I bought. This is the Mitsubishi Evo police car. You can see it's in just kind of a plum color. They usually just use any paint that's lying around and just kind of throw on whatever wheels they can. So you can see this one actually has a blank base. Not all of them do, but this one does. It says Matchbox, but doesn't have anything else on it. And they wouldn't do it because of the Evo. They wouldn't do it in a chrome because they don't need that chrome grille, but for a prototype they will. And you'll see that it has fogged out windows as well. So I can't remember what I paid for it, but it was at least a couple hundred. But I won that in auction. I was really wanted this one, and I was happy to win it at auction. There's another one here that I won. This one they actually marked to make sure it was legit. See, they marked it ABQ10. So I think this was either 2010 or the 10th gathering. They melted that into it. ABQ meaning Albuquerque. So for the Albuquerque convention, this is the Cadillac CTS Coupe. If you see those markings on the door, that's because it had a rubber band around it before they riveted it. And you know, they're not gentle with these models. They really got to make sure that everything is intact, everything works. This one has fogged out windows too. So prototypes tend to get beat up. So you'll see paint chips and yeah, this casting Wesley says is a purple. Yeah, you've seen a few versions, but see this one is blank. There's nothing on it. But that is a prototype that Mattel used to make sure the casting was all in order. And so that's one I'm really happy to have. Here's another one. This is the first one I bought from the 8th Albuquerque convention. This is the Caterham. So again, prototype gray. It's usually done in black. The wheels they threw on, whatever they had around, the green color. And they're actually going to be, they actually have another one of these, an unriveted one. This one's riveted. I like them riveted. They have an unriveted one they're putting up for auction this year. So this one is another prototype. This is a cool casting, a very unique casting. Sam's asking if I'm going to do any videos with David Tilley. I hope so. I already talked to him about it. We'll see. So there's that. And then the other one I won. This is my pride and joy from the 11th gathering. This is when I was the Matchbox ambassador, and that's the last model I'll show here after this. But this is the BMW 1M. Has that flesh-colored interior. They call it Barbie interior. And this model was actually, when they were developing this model, this is a picture that they sent for me to show to collectors as when I was the ambassador. And this is the exact model that has the same paint chips as that picture. And they put this in the auction for me. Not for me to get, just like to give me a chance at it. And it ended up in this auction, they put it up last because they wanted to see me sweat. They were really torturing me that year. And it came up and a few people were bidding on it. Then it got towards the end and it came down to me and my friend David Tilley. I'm Lamb in Lamley, he's Lee in Lamley. So the two Lamley guys were battling it out. We got up to $200 and I just raised my hand and said $300. David let it go and I won the auction. So this is a really cool prototype. Like I said, one of my prides and joys from my prototype collection that I've won in these auctions. This is by far the one I like the most. But yeah, it's beat up. You look at it close, it's got paint chips, but that doesn't matter. That chrome, this chrome base that they're using, or not, they wouldn't put it on the BMW, but that's it. Okay, so the last thing I'll show you, that's a lot of gathering stuff. This year is going to be the first time that, well, they're going to be able, one of the things that Jim Gallegos wants to do is showcase the ambassador buses. And so there are 11 ambassador buses. I'll show you mine here in a second that Matchbox has done. Back in about 2005 or something like that, they started the ambassador program. This is kind of before Instagram and Facebook, and Matchbox wanted a collector. They would selected one collector to kind of be the liaison between them and the collectors. And so they would put out basically what was equated to an email every month saying, here's what's coming out, here's what to look for, here's some sneak peeks, that sort of thing. And then at the end of that person's tenure, they would get a special special bus made by Matchbox. And so I was the 8th ambassador, and this is mine. They presented it at the gathering. Here, I'll put this up just like that. In fact, I'll take this part off. So I was the 8th ambassador, dusty, and David Tilley, I think, was the 2nd or 3rd. Actually, I think he was the 3rd. But those of us who are coming, and some are actually bringing their buses. David Tilley, me, Jim Gallegos, Chuck Wiersma, Dirk Schlor, all of the different ambassadors. There's going to be 2 that are in the Netherlands that are not going to make it, but all of the rest of the ambassador buses are going to be there. So there's only 11 that Matchbox has made. You can see on this one, it says Matchbox Ambassador. It's in gold, and then you can see my name right here in the front, John T. Lambert, 2012, 2013, and then there should be the number 8 somewhere on this, because I was the 8th ambassador. I'm trying to think if it's, yeah, there it is. You'll see it there, right there behind Matchbox Ambassador number 8. So all there's some of the buses are exactly the same, some are a little bit different, but we're going to display all those, and I will I'll maybe try and put all of them together and do a little live stream for you or something like that, showing all of the ambassador buses. Maybe we'll get the ambassadors there to talk about their buses. How cool would that be? So there you go. That is Matchbox gathering models, and so I'll be showing off more next weekend.